So we back now on the Undisputed GOAT podcast, hitting you this week in the great words of DDP. Two times. We've hitting you 2 times. We hit you on Monday, and now we finna hit you on Saturday, man. The Saturday highlight reel. Excuse me, I can't even say my words right today, man. I'm just excited that way, man. So, man, how y'all week been doing so far, man?
Doing well, man. I can't complain at all. It's been a good week. Work's been great. The weather's starting to turn here in Wisconsin. It's starting to be, actually decent weather around here, so I can't complain at all.
Ooh, man, same here, man. I got nothing. Well, I mean, I know because I know champ, you know about it too, being down here too. It's a little bit of a storm threat. We got a little rain today. Might be a chance for some more tomorrow, so definitely we got to keep our eyes on that. But I mean, it was a good week, good week for me too. Good week of work. Just our sales at pro at the lows here has been pretty. For the first month and a half, it's been pretty nuts so far. So I'm hoping to keep that going. But I mean, hey, I got no complaints my way. Just pleasure to be on here with you fellas again. I'm ready to get into it. Ready to have a blast. So hey, you know the script. I'm ready to get it rolling.
Hey, look, we're going to take a different approach today, man. Usually, I know NFL free agency is here, but I would desperately like to talk about what happened last night about the Street Profits winning the tag team titles, man. What are y'all thoughts about that, man? I did not expect that at all.
You want to go first, Flash?
No, go ahead, dude.
Okay. It made them coming back with the new aggressive attitude, the new aggressive style. It validated it. It definitely validated it. I think right now they came back and instantly became the hottest tag team in WWE instantly. Like as soon as they step foot back, they're instantly the hottest tag team in WWE, like instantly. And I mean, it's just the last 4+ years of just them working and putting in these ridiculous matches. I felt like 2022, the rivalry they had with the Usos was just the Money in the Bank match. 2022, them and the Usos was like top 5 match of the year for me, as far as WWE was concerned. Their rivalry was just crazy, and seeing them finally get the WWE tag team titles, it was very long overdue. And I mean, they tried a full on heel turn with them. It didn't work because at the time they were aligned with Bobby Lashley and they didn't want to boo Bobby Lashley at the time. And honestly, they didn't want to boo them either. It didn't work. And honestly, I think they were trying it again, but it was kind of like, I didn't think they really didn't need to go heel, but I appreciated the aggression. I appreciated the violent side of the Street Profits, because if you look at the Street Profits from a physicality standpoint, honestly, their athleticism and just their attitude, they should arguably be one of, if not the most violent tag teams in the WWE, just off of their sheer athleticism and physicality alone. Like they should be one of the more feared tag teams in the entire company. So I was very happy I was surprised to see them win it, because I didn't think they were going to pull the trigger on them yet. I was thinking they might do it at WrestleMania, but I'm glad they pulled the trigger on them, because they definitely deserve to be tag team champions, and I hope they give them a long overdue, justified, deserved run, like a few months. I want to see them get a few months with those championships, because they deserve to have a long run. And I was over the moon when Montez Ford got that 1-2-3 on Johnny Gargano. I was over the moon. I was happy to see them get those titles. Now I just hope they do them right and give them a good run.
Flash.
I like them winning the titles. It's kind of it's the thing that I'm a little wary on is just the tag team division in general. Like I say, to kind of catapult off of what BRF said. If they have a long run, they need to come up with good storylines or something. Like, good tag team matches aren't enough. There needs to be some kind of substance to the tag team division. I honestly don't know what that is. Like, I can't give I think one thing that the tag team division is lacking is managers. Like, if you look back at some of the greatest tag teams of all time, like, they had great managers, and managers were able to, because usually tag teams are with stars that aren't ready yet to be on their own as singles competitors. So I like the lack of quality managers in the tag team division, because the managers always push the story along. Whether it was Jim Cornette, on the ring apron, like, distracting or using his tennis racket to smack somebody across the face, or it was Sonny with the smoking guns or the body donnas, being Sonny and being distracting, or Paul Ellerly back in the day when he was with the Legion of Doom, until the Legion of Doom basically became so big they didn't even need him. But there's just been there's just something's lacking there, and I don't know if it's storytelling. It is storytelling. So I'm glad they won. I like that their new villain, or like arc has been. It should be here, but I also feel like Montez Ford should be on his own at this point. So it's kind of this weird thing. I'm like, I need something from this. Like, they brought in help me out, the Machine Gun,
Motor City Machine Gun, buddy. Yeah, Motor City Machine Gun.
They had him win the titles pretty much right away, and then kind of just did nothing with it. And then the biggest thing they've done so far with the tag team division is they were teasing Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, like, turning on each other or having like a heel turn, and then it just didn't swing, and then it just kind of, I don't know. I need something. So I love that they won it, but now I need to see something develop from it.
Will the tag team division ever be the same as it was? Will we ever see it as big as it was in the Attitude Era, as big as it was during the Usos ever? I mean, during the Usos era, excuse me. Will we ever see it that big again? Because it seems like, although we've had some decent tag teams in the past couple of years, Street Profits, Motor City Machine Guns, just to name a few, it seems like we cannot recapture that magic that the Hardys, the Dudleys, the Acolytes, and tag teams like that gave us in the past. It seems like we're kind of stuck in limbo. Well, we'll get a good tag team every now and again, but it just seems like, okay, but what's more? It's like there's not enough babyface and heel tag teams at this point. What do you guys think?
Well, I think part of that is just you get the 1 to 2 good tag teams, but there's nothing after that. Like, there really hasn't been depth per se to the tag team division, which is crazy because over the last few years, the NXT brand has really much knocked it out the park with their tag team wrestling. They've had some of the best tag teams, period, over the last peak NXT, say peak NXT Black and Gold was around 2018, 2019-ish. Like around and going into COVID era and all that stuff. Also, like, NXT has always been getting it right with the tag team division, and it's like right when you think the main roster might have something, whether it's the Raw division or the SmackDown division, right when you think they have something, it's like they just put it back on the back burner, and then it just takes them a while for them to just really like do something with them again. So you just hope. So really, you hope, particularly with the SmackDown division, while it's actually got some fire to it, because you have the Profits, you have DIY, you have the Guns, you have Pretty Deadly, you have Legado del Fantasma. I mean, you actually got a little something there for a change, and it's just on creative to really like build something for these tag teams. Like, yeah, like what Flash was talking about. They were teasing the whole Gargano Ciampa possibly breaking up, and now we're just gonna turn you both heel. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm for a heel DIY. I mean, Tommaso Ciampa's a better heel anyway. So I mean, it's long overdue. But even with that, I mean, it's just like with the SmackDown side of it, really with a little momentum right now, you really want to see them attack it, because ultimately I do think WrestleMania is going to be like we're going to get some type of multi-team title match. I feel it coming. We're going to get some type of 3-team, 4-team, maybe even all 5 of the main teams, in some type of stipulation match for the tag team titles. It wouldn't shock me if they went that route. But yeah, man, and you got something there. I mean, you got DIY and the Street Profits. I mean, DIY was ultimately proven to be the ones to take out the Street Profits in the first place. So I mean, you got something there. Hey, what's going on, Trail? You got something there. And I mean, and the Street Profits and the Motor City Machine Guns, you could just build them up just on sheer tag team, supremacy, as far as like, we're the best. No, we're the best. Okay. But kind of build something in that. And, with like the Motor City Machine Guns kind of like being one of those teams to get the opportunities that the Street Profits was supposed to get from the jump. So you could kind of, there's stuff there. They just have, I don't know. I just feel like they just have to really like kind of like put their foot into it with this tag team division, because it's not like they don't have teams. I mean, they have more than a handful of good teams finally for the first time in a while now. Now you just have to like do something with them.
Flash.
I think I when we were going through the Dudleys, Hardys, and Edge and Christian era, they, besides the fact that all of those guys are Hall of Famers, or they will be. I mean, the Dudleys are considered probably they're a top 2 tag team of all time. The Hardys and Edge and Christian in general are all, top tag teams ever. I think, we don't have any kind of quality on that level. But I also think that they had a catalyst, and they had something. They had lightning in a bottle with the TLC matches. I mean, let's be honest. Like during that era, the first TLC match is what really set off that tag team division during that era. And seeing the Hardys and Edge and the Dudleys just do, and then you had the table stuff. The tag team division, besides story, they lack, like, what defines the tag team division currently? Like you could, like, pre, like 90s, 80s, it could be defined by, I'm trying to think like how you could define, like, the tag team division was always the precursor to building stars. Bret Hart with the Hart Foundation, Shawn Michaels with the Rockers, and so on and so forth. And what?
Booker T with Harlem Heat.
Yeah, Booker T with Harlem Heat. Steve Austin with the and Brian Pillman with the Hollywood Blondes. It always was to build, and now factions are kind of used to build stars now instead of tag teams. And then it evolved into like, the 90s, and you had like the managers, and you still had the building of stars, but it wasn't a thing. And then you go into the Dudley, and it now you weren't really. I mean, Jeff Hardy became a single star for a while, and obviously Edge and Christian did, but you had defined tag teams, and then you had, like, basically, I would like to call it it was a TLC era. It was a hardcore era of tag team wrestling, and this version of the tag team division right now, currently in this era, it has no definition or character to itself. There's nothing that it can kind of get behind. yes, there are quality matches. That's great. But what defines this era of tag team wrestling? And it's just kind of empty. Even the Usos at their prime, like, they were great, but
What?
you know, even their era was kind of bland. It's just like, what is this? What makes you great? What defines what sets you aside from the other tag team eras? And they don't have that right now. I'm not sure what that answer is. I just know when something's lacking, and it's very much lacking, and I don't know how to fix it. I really don't. I don't know if they do have to do.
No, my bad. About that.
No, you're.
I'm about to say that's a good thing because I don't know how to necessarily fix it either. It just seems like yes, you have it. Street Profits won. You haven't seen the Motor City Machine Guns, but it's just like that tag team division is not as deep and not as, you don't see those career defining matches. And Montez has potential in order to be a single star. You saw that in the Elimination Chamber that one year, with him and Seth was having one of these drag out matches that you just whatever want to see, when he was impersonating, when he was waving his hands, doing I remember that part. So Montez has the potential to be a breakout star, but I don't know what they're going to do in that tag team division. It's a lot to be answered. And it's just like the top. It just seems like, and I'm going to say this is probably the hottest take I'm ever going to have. It seems like the WWE right now, as far as the main roster is concerned, they kind of like the SEC. They real top heavy as hell. It's real top heavy. The main event stars, they on point. But when it comes to those mid-tier guys and the tag team guys, it's like, it seems like the women's division tag team is better than the men's. That's what it seems like. It's like, and then the women's mid-carders, they're better than the guys. It's like, and then when you get to the top, though, when you get to these top tier guys, all these main event guys, it's kind of like it's real top heavy. Kind of like how WCW was at one point. They didn't really have a lot of mid-carders. They had cruiserweights, but wasn't a lot of mid-carders that just stood out, that you knew, okay, this is going to be the very next guy, although he's the U.S. champion or the world television champion, outside of, I'll say, maybe Booker T and Goldberg. But when you look at this roster right now, it's real heavy. It's real top heavy. It's like you see a whole lot of main event guys and a lot of main event potential. You don't see a lot of tag teams and mid-carders that just say, okay, he's next. A lot of these guys at the top of on this card, on this roster, they've been world champion before. A lot of them that are in the main event picture, they've been world champions before. So it's like, who's the next guy? Like, who? I hate to be cliche, but like, who's next? You don't really see that guy outside of, I'll say, maybe LA Knight, but you don't really see that next guy where you say, that's going to be the guy.
Well, and that's the thing. It's just like, how do you? It's weird that, like, well, I take no, because I mean, we had Gunther, who was, he's the next guy, and he went through, kind of the typical, got the Intercontinental title, built up to the World Heavyweight title and everything. But right now there isn't that. You're right. There isn't that guy. You're like, okay, yeah. Like, I mean, you could kind of say Jay, Uso, but I mean, they've been calling him main event Jey Uso for, he was Intercontinental champion for 10 minutes until he gave it back to Braun. Oh no, you got Braun Breaker. He's that next guy. I don't like his name. I hate the name Braun Breaker. I think it's not mainstream. It doesn't ring mainstream. I think it's a stupid name, but he would be the next guy that's holding it.
I don't want to give him Steiner though. I don't want to give him Steiner. No.
Why everybody knows he's
I do. No, I do not know.
Why not?
Because he needs to be his own dude. No, because if you give him Steiner, then it just hey, it's because
look at Cody.
but I mean, come on. What I mean, come on. He's always been Cody Rhodes though. He's always had that name. So you can't really change it up. You can't really change him. He's had that name, and he's been attached to Dusty for like ever. So I mean, that story is already built in. Braun, I mean, he's Rick's son. Yeah, Rick's son, Scott's his uncle. Yeah, but I mean, we don't need to
He barks like his dad.
We don't need to force Steiner. Cody Rhodes isn't forced. We don't need to force Steiner on Braun. I feel like you're forcing it.
But I think he does need a name. I feel the thing that it's like the Dolph Ziggler thing. If Dolph Ziggler wasn't named Dolph Ziggler, he would have been a main event star. I maintain it to this day. Like his gimmick was literally walking around and back saying, "Hi, my name's Dolph Ziggler," because it was a stupid name. And if he had some kind of like, even if it was Nick Nemes, like it's his real name at least. Like, so the mid card.
I really do. I really think they should because they feel like they're trying to. I feel like they're doing the same thing to him like they did to Kerry Von Erich when he came to the WWE, and they started calling him the Texas Tornado. It's like we all know he's a damn Von Erich. We all know he's a Von Erich. He's a Steiner, so it's like
I know, but at the same time, Kerry Von Erich is one of those things where you could have just left him as that and let him do his thing. I think the Texas Tornado was so stupid. They could have just left him as Kerry Von Erich, and he would have shined regardless. I felt like Kerry. I felt like he would have shined. He could have shined no matter what if they booked him. I feel like if they really utilized him, he would have shined regardless of what his name was because Kerry Von Erich was just that talented. And I think that's the same thing with Braun Breaker. I don't think the name's going to determine who he is. I think he's going to be a main event guy regardless of what his name is. Because now I agree with you as far as the Dolph Ziggler thing. But I think even Braun Breaker is way more talented than Dolph Ziggler, and Dolph Ziggler is one of the more talented guys we've seen in a long, long time. And I think Braun Breaker is leaps and bounds more talented than him. So I still think it's just a matter of time before he's like world champion, main event. I think it's just a matter of time. I just feel like we'd be forcing Steiner on him, and we don't need to do
that. They asked him this in another interview about who will win an arm wrestling contest between him, his daddy, and him and his dad, and then him and his uncle. And he said he wouldn't win that matchup. But I gotta ask y'all this. This is one of the little pipe bombs I gotta throw in a triple threat match. Who wins between him in his prime, which is right now, his dad in his prime, and then his uncle in his prime? Who wins the triple threat match?
Ooh, I'm gonna be honest with you. This might be a little blasphemous. If I look at them talent for talent wise, I think Braun's destroying both of them. I do.
I don't know. Prime Scott Steiner.
Scott Steiner. Dude. Yeah, Scott Steiner got to catch Braun though.
Oh, yeah, we're not running track, dude. We're
but still, but you have to take into account the explosiveness of Braun Breaker. Scott Steiner's.
But go back and look how great of an athlete Scott was before he got too big to move. Like, dude was one of the best athletes to ever get into a ring. Like, he was doing stuff like there's no reason to do that big should be doing a Frankensteiner off the top rope.
Now, okay. Prime Scott before he got like all roided up in WCW. Yes. Okay. I'm still picking Braun. Still picking Braun.
Ooh. So over Prime Steiner brother, Scott Steiner.
Wow. I'm still picking Braun. I'm still picking Scott. Braun's doing stuff that even Prime Scott could not do.
Are we asking who's winning in like a physical wrestling match, or who's the better like wrestler performer?
Well, I'm asking it like a triple threat match. Who wins this match? Like, who wins the match?
I mean,
I think Braun is. I think Braun is a good athlete. My bad.
What? Oh, go ahead.
My bad. I think Prime. I think. Yeah.
I think if you're asking who the better performer is, I think it's like Prime Scott Steiner on the mic is phenomenal. But
Yeah.
So I think Scott's got the edge there. He's he's a hair tick less athletic than Braun. He's better on the mic, and I think he's a better technical wrestler than Braun by leaps and bounds. So I think Scott was way better, and I don't think Braun's hit his prime yet. I think we're another 2 to 4 years away from his prime.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, and I'm sorry, Champ, what were you going to say?
Shout out to Kennesaw State, by the way. Everybody knows from Georgia that Braun is a Kennesaw State alumnus, and my sister went to that school, by the way. So shout out to Kennesaw State, man. I produced a good one. So, but as far as athleticism, that's probably, they may not be the best wrestling family ever, but as far as being athletes are concerned, that's one of the most athletic families you probably ever want to see, because for them to be the wrestlers that they were, as far as the Scott Steiner brothers, that's one of the top tag teams of all time. Scott Steiner was one of the top guys in WCW. It didn't quite work out in WWE for various reasons, but he was an attraction. But that was one of the most athletic families of all time. And if athlete to athlete, they can stack up to anybody in the wrestling business. I'm just going to be very, very honest with you, because for them to be on the Michigan varsity, the Michigan wrestling team, and then Braun to be one of the top stars as far as the Kennesaw State is concerned, is one of the more athletic families you ever want to see. So one thing that I hate, though, is I know the Steiner brothers were good, but we cannot understate what Rick did in the varsity club when him and Dr. Death Steve Williams was together. We cannot understate what he did.
I think Rick gets kind of the Anvil treatment, which is not deserved. Like, I think he was way better than Anvil.
I do too.
What?
I do too.
Way better than Anvil.
I do. I agree. I agree with that 1,000%. I agree with that 1,000%. Rick definitely does not deserve that, because at his peak as well, they were just. You definitely can't understate what he did with Dr. Death Steve Williams, but just that Steiner brother run, man, is just like they're just one of those, like they're just one of those generational athletic tag teams who they could both go on their own. Like, yeah, they did the tag team thing and they were dominant at it, but when they were on their own, they could carry their own weight. They could both handle themselves. And Rick does not get nowhere near the flowers that he deserves.
Yeah, they act like he was a run-of-the-mill type of guy, and which that's very, very I'm offended for him when people say that, because it's crazy. You was part of one of the best tag teams of all time, that being the Steiner brothers. Then you was a part of one of the greatest factions of all time in the varsity club with Dr. Death Steve Williams, and then you end up being a top guy again when it came to being in WCW. Everybody knew the dog pound, it's like, welcome to the dog pound. And everybody knows where Braun got that from. He got it from his father, which is Rick, the dog-faced gremlin. So when he talk about the dog, like, oh, that's his father. But, now he sounds like his uncle on the mic. But as far as him saying, hoo, hoo, everybody know that's Rick's stuff. Everybody know that's his.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, everybody know that. That's the dog pound, man. Everybody know that's the dog face gremlin. Now, it would be funny as hell, instead of calling him Braun Burke, it would be funny as hell if they started calling him the dog face gremlin. I'm like, okay, y'all really trying to speak about history and really not trying to bring up the name. That would be really funny if you really want me to be honest with you. Let's see what PSP favorite.
Well, so then you're gonna lean into it.
Yeah, and I think that'll be the perfect way to lean into it. We'll come back to that, PSP. We'll be here all day.
Which is why they need to leave the name alone. Leave it alone. As a matter of fact, even his nickname he has now is kind of starting to like really catch some wave. I mean, Michael Cole coined him unpredictable badass. I mean, it fits. So I mean, just let him do his thing. Don't force no name changes. Let homeboy do his thing.
All right. So we're gonna come back to that question about PSP after this next segment. I gotta ask y'all this. This is something that's been on my mind. Y'all are the wrestling savants out of the three of us. I'm just gonna give you guys. I'm gonna give you guys y'all flowers every chance I get. But because I watch wrestling, y'all digest it, and there's a huge difference. So I have to ask y'all this because I don't know how to feel about this at certain times, but I must ask y'all this. Does a title change on TV has to happen more often, or does it need to be reserved for only pay-per-views? And the reason why I'm asking that is we saw title changes pretty much handed off and happening in the Attitude Era. We saw Triple H become the champion for the first time in the Attitude Era. We saw Mick Foley become the champion for the first time during the Attitude Era. Hell, we even saw Lex Luger become the WCW champion and went over on Hulk Hogan when he was at his prime in the NWO on WCW Monday Nitro. We saw a lot of title changes during that time. And I think, me personally, that if you have a title change on TV and you tease it, it's like, okay, now I have to watch this if the title is on the line, because it's not a foregone conclusion that the champion's gonna win. I mean, at one point they even handed the title off on a house show. Remember, Bret Hart got his first title reign from a house show. It wasn't even on television. Remember Big Daddy Cool Diesel? Yes. Great minds think alike. Remember Big Daddy Cool Diesel got his first handoff on a house show. So do you think that handed the title
beat Bob Backlund in like 5-6 seconds?
In 6 seconds. So do you think that titles being handed off should happen more often because it keeps the watcher engaged, because they're able to say, well, I know there's no guarantee that this is going to happen just strictly on a PPV or pay-per-view or premium live events, excuse me. I'm so used to saying pay-per-view. It's a shame. But do you think that title changes should happen more often, or do you think it should happen on television, but they don't need to Vince Russo it to death? And what I mean by that is just having a title change just for a chance to say, okay, we're going to have a title change just for the sake of getting somebody to watch. Y'all have the floor. Whoever wants to go first.
No, it doesn't need to be reserved for only pay-per-views. And to my opinion, it is. I still call it a pay-per-view. It forever will be a pay-per-view. I will. It's fine. I don't have to change with the times. I don't think it needs to happen. I mean, I'm trying to think if they've done that recently where they've changed title. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head if that's happened lately. Without it really being like a tag team division. Like I mean, do I think it needs to happen more often? No. I kind of like what Triple H is doing a little bit, where he's kept the title on guys for a while. It makes the title changes worth something. It makes it, substantial. Everybody complained that Roman Reigns' reign was too long, and then we got the best 10 minutes of WrestleMania ever. But I do think the formulaic. I think the problem that is I feel like LA Knight and Shinsuke. I know it's not the world title, but that thing's been going on for a while. I do think that Chelsea Green and Minchin have just been why are they still feuding? We already had the dumpster match. Chelsea won, or I'm sorry, Minchin won, and then Chelsea won. It just they keep rehashing this stuff, and I'm like, you need to ascend people somehow, and I think that's kind of the problem right now. Is you have Cody, Roman, Cena, and Rock at the top. And I wouldn't even count Gunther in that realm. I don't, and then you got Seth and Punk too. There's such a log jam right now at the top. You also got Drew McIntyre in there. If Jay wins the title, there's not a lot of room to move. And so they're having to rehash all these, mid-card feuds that go on forever, and they just don't go anywhere. Like, I thought Shinsuke and LA Knight started out really good, and then I'm like LA Knight came out on SmackDown, and I forgot that they were actually he was actually like a wrestler. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. LA Knight's still around. Like, something isn't right. I don't know if they need more depth at mid card or what. It's just I was like, oh shit, LA Knight's still a wrestler, son of a gun. And I just need. I don't know if they need more depth, like the guys from NXT. I don't know what it is, or they need to bring in. There's rumors of Aleister Black coming in, and now that Triple H is in charge, do they bring him in to kind of spice up the mid card? There's guys that have come over. Whatever the guy came over from AEW recently, he joined in NXT. Ricky, whatever.
Ricky Saints now.
Thank you.
Is Ricky Saints now?
Yeah, he's Ricky Saints now.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
That makes sense. He's from New Orleans. It makes sense.
Do they need to bring that? What?
I was just saying he's from New Orleans. It makes sense. The name fits.
Yeah, it does. I don't know what they need. They need something. I just feel like some of the mid-carders are just not there. And I think Champ or BRF made a point about the mid-card women. The mid-card women seem to be doing a lot better than the mid-card men right now. Or just the women's division seems kind of honestly, God, besides the top of the card, the women's division in general seems way more interesting right now than the men's. In all facets. I mean, Liv has been amazing. In my opinion, she's the performer of the year besides maybe Drew McIntyre or Punk. She's been, or at least the most improved or whatever you want to call it. And they have Chelsea, who's been, if they would just give her something to do, and they kind of evolved that story. And last night, I have to catch up. I've seen highlights of SmackDown last night. I gotta catch up on that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it needs to be. I don't think it only needs to be reserved on pay-per-views. I would like to see it on SmackDown or Raw. Every now and then.
TRL?
Yeah. I think it's. They don't need to do it like what Vince Russo was doing with the WCW World Heavyweight title back between 99 and 2001. They don't need to do it that bad, but it kind of depends on the situation. It depends on the angle. If they feel like it calls for it, then by all means pull the trigger. Because I mean, just in the last 2 or 3 weeks or so, you got the WWE Women's Championship changing on the Monday Night Raw. You got the men's United States Championship changing on the SmackDown. And just last night, you had the WWE Tag Team Championships changing on the SmackDown. I like the unpredictability that is giving this year in terms of the road to WrestleMania, because now outside of both world titles, there's no safe championship. And I like that for some reason going into the road to WrestleMania. I actually kind of like that because you hope it brings more players to the table. You know what I mean? It gives more people opportunities to really kind of stake their claim to wanting to be on the WrestleMania card, and I like that. And I like that personally. It gives more people you might not normally see, possibly an opportunity. And yeah, the mid-card women, they've been doing the mid-card women, both of those championships, they've been doing it pretty good as of late. With Lyra Valkyria defending the women's IC title against Ivy Nile about a week or so ago. That was a really, really good match. They gave them time and they did a good job. I hope Chelsea Green and Mi Chen are over. I hope that feud is over. But I will say this though, that street fight they had, that was a good match. I was hoping for their sake that they would turn Chelsea Green loose a little bit. Because her character is the spoiled brat, commanding and all that other stuff. But people don't realize Chelsea Green is a heck of a wrestler when you actually turn her loose and give her something to sink her teeth into. And believe me, if you don't think so, go back to her TNA days. Go back to her Lucha Underground days. When she gets an opportunity to turn it loose, she could cut it loose. And she got an opportunity on SmackDown in that street fight, and she did. Her and Michin, they put up. I mean, for all intents and purposes, they put a banger out on that SmackDown with that street fight. They did a really good job. But yeah, it depends on the situation. Like, you don't want to hot potato. You definitely don't want to hot potato the championships, but at the same time, depending on the angle, depending on just the moment, every so often to kind of make it less predictable, to keep it on our brains, to keep it fresh on our minds. It won't hurt every once in a while, especially because like like with this whole with this Elimination Chamber into WrestleMania build, this is practically like a month and a half, it's a month and a half, almost 2 month build from Elimination Chamber going into WrestleMania. So so the opportunities definitely presented themselves to have some championships change hands on television, and we've seen 3 change hands. So I think it's just really about the situation at hand, and can you pull it off, but yet still maintain the interest, maintain the momentum of whatever said championships changing hands. And I feel like with the WWE Women's title, they preserved the momentum of that championship, because now you have Io Sky holding that championship, and then you have the Rhea and Bianca elements coming into this, so you keep that championship hot. All the momentum I feel like you had lost with Shinsuke Nakamura holding the United States Championship, you practically got a lot of it back, putting that championship on LA Knight. You go from possibly not having a U.S. title match on WrestleMania if you kept it on Shinsuke Nakamura, to pretty much, I feel, all but locking up a potential United States Championship match on a WrestleMania card with LA Knight. And then the WWE Tag Team titles, you're building momentum up there, because you got like 5 or 6 teams on SmackDown all trying to beat the daylights out of each other, wanting to be WWE Tag Team Champions. So you're preserving some fire there. So it's just mainly about the angle and what's going on at the time. Yeah, you don't want a hot potato, but you want some unpredictability with the titles. So I was there. I was for all the title changes, and I think as long as you're doing it in a matter to maintain that championship's momentum and an angle's momentum, if it calls to pull that trigger and have somebody win a championship on a television show, you do it. So they don't need to be hot potatoed, and they don't necessarily need to be reserved for pay-per-views. It's like I said, it's mainly about the unpredictability factor. So I am all for it when there's more of an unpredictability factor. I don't think they should be reserved just for the PLE pay-per-views and whatnot. I don't think they should just be reserved for that. Because there's more of like a, I don't know. There's less of a predictability factor when the possibilities there for the change hands at just the pay-per-view. You kind of got to mix it up and keep it fresh a little bit. So if it calls for it, I've never had a problem with TV title changes. Some of the best title changes in wrestling history have been on, whether it's Friday Night SmackDown, Monday Night Raw, Monday Nitro back in the day. I still feel like the greatest title change in the history of WCW was Goldberg beating Hollywood Hogan that July '98 Nitro in Atlanta. I still feel like that's the greatest title change in the history of that company, because of the momentum that was behind Goldberg, and just the sheer moment of them creating a homegrown megastar. So, like I said, it just depends on the moment. It just depends on the moment for me. But yeah, I don't think they should be reserved for just pay-per-views.
Okay, then. Quick question, real quick. Real quick. 2 quick questions. We got to make it quick, guys. What do you think about The Undertaker giving the rub to the NXT champion prior to that huge match?
I liked it. I liked it. It was. I don't think Oba. Oba already being as over as he is, I don't think he needed it. But at the same time, it's like I liked it. You know, it's like one dominant big to another dominant big. I liked it. So I don't think he needed it, but hey, you're not gonna say no to a rub from the Undertaker. So I liked it.
Flash. Mike is muted, dude.
Okay.
There we go. My bad.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
never going to complain about a veteran giving a rub to a younger wrestler. I never complained about that. Does it have the significance of like when Taker did it with Bray? No, God rest his soul. But you know, Austin giving the rub to KO for coming back at WrestleMania. Did KO need it? No, but so no, I don't know if there's like it. I'm never going to complain about it. I'm on the same page with PR. Did he need it? No. Is it good? Yeah, it's never bad. I don't think.
Yeah, it's never bad.
Hey man, it's always good to get a rub from the Undertaker, man. The Undertaker, remember, this is your yard. It's kind of the Undertaker kind of reminds you, especially looking at it now. It kind of reminds you of that guy at the bar. You go to have a beer with your dad. You ask him who that guy was. If you're a real young guy, the guys around nowadays they know who he is. But you kind of ask your dad who he is, and he telling you how he used to be back in the day. He has his own pool table. Everybody know to get off of it when he comes in there. That's what that reminds me of, and that's what that rub defines to me, man. Whenever he reminds me of that bad guy, that badass guy in the bar who hey man, look, this dude might be old, but he wasn't always old. So whenever you can get a rub from the Undertaker, it's always a good thing. We're gonna go back to PSP's question real quick. Favorite Austin moment? I'll just say real quick, WrestleMania 13.
Favorite Austin moment. Favorite. You go, Flash. I'm still thinking.
96 King of the Ring and the Austin 316 promo. I was there, so live. So I got to saw the birth of the Attitude and the birth of Austin live. So that's my favorite.
For me, it's probably a favorite Austin moment. Probably WrestleMania 14.
I have a close second.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
I do. No, you good. No, you good because I have a close second too. For me, my favorite Austin moment is probably WrestleMania 14, the first World Championship, beating Shawn Michaels. Just the catching the super kick, the sweet chin music, turning up the counter into the stunner. I feel like one of the better counters ever in a big time pressure moment like that. One of the best counters I've ever seen. So definitely that's definitely my favorite. A quick close second is probably, I don't know. This might be a little shocking. As great moments that he's had, just in terms of a giving him his flowers moment, that entrance at WrestleMania 38 before the Kevin Owens show. It's one of the greatest entrances. It's one of the greatest entrances I've ever seen. And it's one of those where it was just kind of like, you ain't going to get this too. You're not really going to get this really anymore after this. So take it in while you got it. That entrance before the Kevin Owens show and then that no holds barred match. That's one of the greatest WrestleMania entrances I have ever seen.
All right.
I have two others. One's a real random one, and one isn't even really about him. But my close second is Austin coming, because he's injured at the time when this happened. When Foley wins the title on Monday Night Raw, and you hear the glass break, come down and help Foley. Because you had DX on the apron or at ringside, and you had the corporation, and Austin was injured at the time, and to come down and hit The Rock with the chair and give Foley his first title win. That's it. The pop that Austin got, and then the pop that Foley got was in my opinion, still probably the best pop ever, like combo. And then I have a real insignificant one that I personally love. So we were talking about like the tag team eras, and this is right around when Owen and Bulldog, both rest in peace, were running the tag team division. They had it forever, and randomly on a Monday Night Raw, they had Shawn Michaels tag team with Austin, and Austin and Shawn won the tag titles from Bulldog and Owen because it was so random that they won the tag titles. And the pop was really good. Look it up. It's just a great thing. Austin's interfering in the ring, and the ref, or Michaels is interfering in the ring, and the ref tries to pull him out, and Michaels kicks Bulldog right in the chin, and Austin pins him. It's just a great little personal favorite of mine.
Hey,
I got one more quick one too before we move on. Because he brought up the pop that he got when he helped Mankind win the WWE Championship for the first time. 2001, before he joined the Alliance, the pop he got, it was pretty much a whole Raw leading up to the moment where it was like, I want the old Vince was like, I need the old Stone Cold, I need the old Stone Cold. So when he's at that pool house, he finally comes back from the pool house. He comes back to the arena, and he just starts beating the daylights. If you had WCW or ECW on your shirt, he basically just ran through you and kept walking. And then when the glass finally breaks and he walks through the pop he got and just starts stunning every WCW, ECW person in sight was just like, man, that one. Like I said, if that pop is the loudest, the one he got before the Invasion pay-per-view where he finally just came back and just started beating everybody up was, man, it was sick.
great, man. Hey, shout out to PSP, man. We did had a hell of a show last night, man, and we also covered that on his show as well. So thank you for for throwing that idea, throwing us a bone, and guess what? We called it and we ran with it. So PSP, we appreciate it, man. So make sure y'all go and like, subscribe to the Sports PSP podcast as well. Like I always say, without Sports PSP, there probably would not be a Undisputed GOAT podcast. Let's just be honest about that. We got to give credit where credit is due. Speaking of giving credit where credit is due, I have to ask this. Let's get into some basketball real quick. I got to ask y'all this question. Which franchise is in the worst state right about now? I mean, because these two franchises, it's like when you talk about being up Crap Creek without even a boat, they ain't even got a life jacket at this boat. They literally naked in that pool, and they about to drown in quicksand. So they're up the creek without a paddle, without a boat, without a life jacket. They ain't even got a t-shirt on. They just drowning when it comes to the 76ers and the Dallas Mavericks. But you got to ask yourself, who's in the worst shape at this point? And for me personally, I have to say the Dallas Mavericks. I got to say the Dallas Mavericks. Because although Joel Embiid and Paul George are both hurt, there's still a little bit of hope. You have the rookie that just got hurt, and you have Tyrese Maxey that you could potentially build around moving into the future, and they could potentially get Cooper Flag next year. You know, they can that's some things that they have going for, but they can just say, you know what, I Embiid, you know, you're not able to play anymore, or we're going to trade you, and you get rid of the Paul George contract by amnesty, and you could potentially build around those guys for the future because those guys are very, very, very young. When you look at the Mavs, they ain't got nothing. You know, all their stars. Yeah,
dude, I don't even think they're going to be the Dallas Mavericks for much longer. I think that whole theory about like that whole conspiracy theory about them being moved to Vegas, I think that's legit. I do. I mean, I mean, yes, the Kyrie and Anthony Davis injuries are accelerating it, but I don't think that whole fan base they don't want anything to do with that franchise. I don't think I've never seen. I can't even think of something like this where a whole fan base wanted to just literally burn it to the ground. Like, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before.
Other than when When we traded
What?
Shaq. When we traded Shaq.
The Lakers?
Yeah, when we traded Shaq.
Nah,
you
because
still had
you
Kobe.
still had Kobe.
Yeah, but you gotta
Like, you
remember,
had,
bro.
like,
Let's just be honest. Kobe was not the media darling that he was at the late of his career. In fact, they blamed him for Shaq being gone.
Oh, I know, but this is different. This is like this. Like, this sounds messed up to say this, and I'm surprised there hasn't been any violence, because it's been so. If you, let's just say Dallas had another superstar on Kobe's level, and they trade Luka, like, you had to basically pick, if you had Luka and I don't know, Luka and not even that, Jokic, and you had like Wemby, like you had the guy that's coming up, and you traded Luka, and let's say Luke is in his early 30s or whatever, and you trade Luka. Yeah, there's going to be Luka loyalists. Yes, it's like when Favre was traded, and everybody that was a Favre lover just wanted to, but
at the same time, you understood.
Yeah, if you
understood,
your emotion out of it, you understood it. But with this trade still makes no fucking sense at all.
No.
Not even just the trading of Luka, but how the trade was done.
The circumstances behind it.
The circumstances behind it seem really fishy as hell. Like, it does. Because
I'm not lying. I'm just laughing at how you said it, because it's absolutely the truth.
It
sticks to the high heavens. I'm just gonna be real here. You don't trade people for anything less than 6 first-round picks.
Yeah, it smells like a $2 hooker. Like, let's just not lie about it. It smells fishy, and I just like, I'm sorry, but it's just something's wrong here. Like, we're not. Again, I am in full belief that this team will be in Vegas within 5 years. I am. I'd put almost a whole paycheck on it.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, judging on how people in Vegas treat the Las Vegas Raiders, it's like, I don't know, because it's like, whenever a team moves, it takes a while for that team to become part of the community, part of the city. Dallas is the Mavericks are the Mavericks. They're embedded in Dallas. So it's going to be very, very hard for that. I mean, and plus, although Vegas is, Vegas, if you really look at TikTok, I've been paying attention a lot to TikTok. Vegas is not the attraction that it once was for a lot of people, probably because it's so damn expensive out there. It's gotten expensive as hell.
Yeah, well, nobody can afford to go there anymore. So
so I don't understand the attraction of there when you have Dallas, which is a glamour city. I mean, I understand that you want to put your casino in there, but I mean, and that's what your business is casinos. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's gonna be kind of hard to embed yourself in that city, because guess what? The Las Vegas Raiders haven't gotten a great response from that city as of yet. They haven't gotten a good response. No, when you look at the Las Vegas A's, although they're getting ready to move to one of the biggest cities in the nation, they're not getting a good reception from that city, because Vegas, from what I've learned, Go ahead.
It's not a sports town.
It's an entertainment town, and the thing is, and the team is not theirs. It's not their team.
No.
When you think about the Las Vegas, when you think about the Las Vegas Aces, that's their team. That's their team. When you're thinking about the hockey team, that's their team. When you think about UNLV, that's their team. When you think about a lot of these teams that are coming into this city, it's really not theirs. And the locals don't really relate to it like that. It's just like the Oakland A's going to Las Vegas. Yes, it sounds good on paper, but really nobody cares about it as far as, other than the owners and the money. Because the thing is, Vegas is out. Go ahead, BRF. I'm sorry.
No, you good. No, I was just going to say, and it doesn't help the Athletics and the Raiders from the standpoint that going into Vegas, with Vegas being an entertainment town, they're driven by a superstar factor. Neither the Vegas Raiders, who Derek Carr going into Vegas as your face of the franchise, Derek Carr wasn't no superstar quarterback. And then when you look at the Oakland A's going into Vegas, who's your best player? Brent Rooker? What the hell is that? Not a superstar. So it's not just the fact that that's not their teams. If nothing else, if you had at least like one superstar caliber player you're going into that city with, that's at least somebody that they can take hold to. Neither franchise had a superstar that they could really hang their hat on to be like, okay, I'm going to go just to see him.
Yeah, because even when the Raiders moved to LA, everybody said, okay, I'm going to go see Marcus Allen. Yeah,
Fact.
I'm going to go see Marcus Allen.
Facts.
I mean, they had a good defense. They had Howie Long. They had a lot of great defensive players. They had Art Shell, and they had Gene Upshaw on that team. They had Cliff Branch on that team. They had David Casper, was it the tight end? Todd Christensen. They had the tight end there. So even when they moved to LA, they still had the superstar element. But
the St. Louis Rams moving back to LA. Todd Gurley's a top 5 back at the time. There you go, right there.
Not only that, they still had Aaron Donald. The thing is, they still had a lot of great things going on in there. It's just that idiot Jeff Fisher didn't know his butt from a hole in the ground. That's just the bottom line. Jeff Fisher was not the correct coach for that. Not saying he was a bad coach, because you saw what he did with the Tennessee Titans. But he was not the coach for that particular transition. And I know they was looking at the success that he had with the Tennessee Titans as they were transitioning from the Oilers and being in Houston to going to Tennessee, because he made that transition very, very good and very, very smooth. But he was not able to duplicate that. But yeah, as they went, and the thing is, the Rams going back to LA, their roots was deeply embedded in LA in the first place.
That's true.
When you think about some of their greatest players, huh? When you talk about
that move was way more understandable.
Yeah. When you talk about some of their greatest players, you can argue, although they won the Super Bowl first in St. Louis, their best players were in Los Angeles. When you think about Eric Dickerson, when you think about Jerome Bettis, when you think about the Fearsome Four who put them on the map, when you think about Norm Van Brocklin, when you think about those guys, all of those guys stemmed out of L.A. Greg Bell, Kevin Green, Jackie Slater, all of those guys were from LA, were from the LA Rams, not necessarily the St. Louis Rams. When you think about the St. Louis Rams, you only think about the greatest show on turf, and then after that, it's like, okay, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
So even that move made sense, because it's like, okay, I'm moving back to where it started. So I understand that. Like I said, if Vegas is so outpriced for the NBA is already expensive, and that's what's turning off a lot of fans at this point. NBA is already expensive. I mean, it seems like they're trying to outprice the everyday man every damn day. It's like going to. It's like, and rather than doing that, I might as well just go to the club and watch it, because at least I get bottle service at the club. Just being real. At least I get bottle service. I get some snacks. I get to hang out with my people. But it's just like, even in those seats, I got to pay over $1,000. So you're already, and I understand, you're absolutely right, Fresh. I think they're going to end up in Las Vegas, but it doesn't make sense. Vegas is already outpriced. Vegas has already outpriced everyone. It doesn't make any sense to go there anymore. Matter of fact, if you go and look online right now and go on TikTok, because I was looking at this, during the Super Bowl week, Vegas was empty. How many times has that happened in the last 50 years? During the Super Bowl, Vegas is full. Everybody's in Vegas. So moving to Vegas, I understand you want to build a casino in the stadium, and that's all fine and dandy. But guess what? How's your attendance going to be there?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, because Vegas has already outpriced everybody. It doesn't make any sense to go there anymore. So how is that going to affect you? You would have been better off staying in Dallas.
You're better off not trading Luka.
Yeah.
You was better off not trading Luka, but the thing is, even after this, you're better off staying in Dallas because guess what? It's not. You might think it's economically sound in order to move there so you can build your little casino, but the thing is, Vegas, the city has already outpriced everybody from coming there. Like I said, go back and look at the Super Bowl week. They will tell you how empty it was. During Super Bowl week, going to Vegas was like the main attraction. If you couldn't go to the Super Bowl itself, then you had to go to Vegas. So, yeah, it doesn't. Yeah. I get what you're saying, Flash, but economically, what sense does that make? And plus, like I said, you have evidence of two teams, that being the Las Vegas Raiders and the Las Vegas A's, their reception and their community's reception from that not being particularly well because it's not their team already. So how are they going to receive you coming from there? And the thing is, how is another fan base going to be able to trust you at a certain point, knowing how you got there, knowing how you sabotaged an entire team in order to get there?
Yeah.
You sabotaged an entire team
I agree.
that was fresh off a finals appearance in order so you can move your team to Vegas in order to be greedy. How is that going to resonate with your new fan base? The defense rests, Your Honor.
But I mean, y'all pretty much hit all the points on the head, man. Yeah, it's yeah, because I mean, when you look at the Philadelphia 76ers, I mean, their biggest thing is just they need to go ahead and unload. They need to unload that Paul George contract. They need to unload that Joel Embiid contract and just focus on the future. So there is a little bit of an outlook there with potentially having a high draft pick, with the Cooper Flag potential being there, Tyrese Maxey, who's still a budding, growing stud in the league, Jared McCain, who's coming into his own before his injury. So I mean, there's hope there. With the Dallas Mavericks, this was what I was fearing. This was the one thing I probably feared as far as the Dallas Mavericks, because I felt like healthy Kyrie and a healthy AD, they could make a run, because we know the interior defense was there. We knew Kyrie can still score with the best of them, and PJ Washington's turning into like a big time player in Dallas. He's really been one of the most improved players in the league this year. So the potential was there. So, and now you're looking at it from a standpoint of Kyrie's out for the rest of the year, tore his ACL. If I'm Anthony Davis, not only am I not coming back this year, I'm probably not staying in Dallas either. So now it's like, uh-oh. It's like you absolutely have no direction at all. So yeah. So yeah, for me, right now it's definitely the Dallas Mavericks, because if nothing else, you could have at least had a Luka Doncic there to salvage something. He's in LA. You have absolutely nothing to salvage. You're basically like your lame duck franchise, honestly, at this point now, because you have absolutely nothing going for yourself. And the two best players you have on the team now are both injured. Granted, you did give Kyrie a new deal, but he's getting up there in age, and he just tore his ACL. And AD, I wouldn't even come back this season and wouldn't come back to Dallas either, or find other opportunities there. So you're in limbo. You're like I said, you're a lame duck franchise. So yeah, it's definitely the Dallas Mavericks being in the worst situation, because and then with your record, you're not bad enough to have like a high lottery pick to get a potential impact player, but you're probably not making the playoffs either. And if you do, you're making the play in and you're not going far. So you're like, you're in the worst case of limbo right now.
Flash,
which is a prime opportunity to sell to move the franchise to Vegas. It just if the conspiracy theory is true and they actually do move to Vegas, it's one of the grossest things ever done by an owner of a team, and that's saying something.
Agreed. Nico Harrison better have his head on a swivel at all times.
Dude, but I'm not. Honestly, at the end of the day, this is just
exactly. We're not promoting. We're not promoting anything to anybody. We're just fans or diehard fans are like, yes.
Hey, you gotta ask yourself this, man. Look, we're aiming a lot of the energy towards the general manager, but the hell, I don't own the team. I'm just following orders.
Yeah,
I'm just real.
Again, we don't know.
Because the thing is
there any
a lot of... Go ahead.
Is there any conspiracy to the fact that this was, you hear this conspiracy that, the ratings are down and Adam Silver orchestrated this for Luka to go to LA?
Well, the thing is, the ratings still damn down. I mean, the ratings still down. That didn't make too much of a big of a difference. The only thing you did was send a high-profile player to the biggest media market in the world. And the thing is this: the ratings were down, and the New York Knicks are good. Let me say that again. The ratings were down, and the biggest media market, the New York Knicks, are damn good. So guess what?
Yeah.
The problem with the NBA is this. It's not the three-point shot. It's not. They're not promoting the product like they did under David Stern. And the thing is, they've been doing that same thing. Remember, the thing is, look, they gave us a lot of credit, each and every last one of us, because every week during the WNBA season, we was talking about something from the WNBA. Each and every last one of us was posting videos on our TikToks. I remember when Asia Wilson first started playing Caitlin Clark. I remember we broke the stories like, why is this not being talked about that the greatest player in the NBA is playing the greatest rookie of all time in the WNBA? So the things that they're doing on the women's side of basketball, they're failing to do on the men's side, and the ratings are falling. There was a time where there was a time in the NBA where every single region who had a superstar, they were regionally promoted. I remember when Dominique Wilkins was promoted as the major superstar down here. I remember that. I remember although you have your faces, the biggest faces in the NBA, you have to have your regional faces. Because everybody's not going to be able to see LeBron all the time because you outpriced the tickets. So guess what? I might not be able to see him when he comes to town, but I can always go see my regional superstar.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. Like back when we were kids, like all you had was your local team. Like now you can watch any NBA game at any time, anywhere.
Yeah,
like, there's no. That's the thing too. It's like there's so much more access to entertainment and media now. I mean, how many people do you really know that sit down and watch a full game in general now? That's younger than 30. Not a lot, I bet.
Not a lot. It's just the highlights, so you can tell by the content that they make.
Yeah. Like that's sitting down and watching a whole game from dude, everybody I talk to, dude, I love NFL Red Zone. I'm sorry, but you can't get a full grasp of a game if you watch NFL Red Zone. But that's what this is. That's the era we're in. So, and because everybody's busier, everybody has other things to do, everybody has access to so much more stuff. And it's like the thing with the NFL, like, again, I said it this past year during the NFL season. I'm like, the NFL's got to be careful. They keep taking away from the game and try to make stuff more flag football-y. They're going to all of a sudden find themselves in the same thing, in the same breath as the NBA, where like, why is nobody turning into our product? Well, again, what's one thing that's lacking in the NBA right now that a lot of old heads complain about? It's not as physical as it used to be. It's not as chippy as it used to be. Yeah. Like there's not enough, like,
plus, kind of like what we was talking about earlier in the WWE, there's not those incoming superstars that you need to watch. A lot of these players in the NBA are coming in and they're underdeveloped and underprepared.
Yeah.
They're underdeveloped and underprepared. It is crazy. Look, I'm going to just be real. And this is no shot at anybody. But it's crazy when Bronny James is the talk of the draft. And the number 1 overall pick is it.
I mean, yeah.
When the number 1 overall pick is not the talk of the draft and the 57th overall pick is, that's a problem.
Hey, dude, what did Barkley just recently say this past week or the week before? Barkley was on the NBA show, and he was talking about, he's like, the Cleveland Cavaliers are having one of the best seasons ever, and all you people talk about is the effing Lakers. Like, that's it. You're not to your point, Champ. They're not promoting the league, and it's just about Bronny and Luka and like, dude. I'm just gonna be blunt and honest about Bronny. Bronny sucks. There's no reason he should be on an NBA basketball court. I'm just gonna be blunt and honest. It is what it is. He could be in the G League. That's fine. That's okay. But he stinks. He's garbage. The only reason he's on there and anybody talks to him is because of his dad, which is fine. I understand. Again, I've talked about this before. We all have nepotism is a thing. We all get it. We all have done it at a certain level or not. But it's what pissed me off about LeBron James getting in Stephen Smith's face. Dude, I get it as a father. Look, the most important thing in my life is my daughter. But if you're going to put your son in that position, you need to let him take the heat. Like, you're not letting your son be a man at all. Like, you're just being – I'm just being blunt. LeBron, you're a bitch. You are. And you're letting bitches run the league. And so nobody wants to watch bitches.
So much for political correctness.
It's just driving me nuts. It's a thing that's been really driving me nuts lately about the NBA. That's the other thing too. We talk about there's no American talent. There's none. All of us European players.
Well,
except for Steph and LeBron.
Well, that's America's fault. We're just gonna be real. Back when that's America's fault. Because the thing is, back when each and every last one of us played ball in the boys club leagues, in the rec leagues, it was only $5 for us to get a damn jersey. Now it's become a huge business. You can't enterprise every damn thing. Back then, the biggest high school player was, it was big making the McDonald's All-American League. Now all of these AAU players doing travel ball. And the thing is, it's not like baseball. People trying to talk about, well, baseball's the same way. That's a whole different ball game than baseball. You have these AAU leagues. These guys, like I said, they're underdeveloped and underprepared. And that's what's killing the league. And there was a time where, like I said, you played rec ball, didn't it, BRF?
I did.
Yeah, everybody. When you played rec ball, it was $10. Yeah, it was $10 to sign up, and you might have paid $50 for a jersey.
Yeah, you might have. But then it's about being around your teammates and just having fun and just the purity the purity of the sport. Because growing up, I was growing up playing rec baseball. I mean, it was the purity of the sport and being around your friends and just having fun. Now everything is just all like business, and it's really taken away a lot of the purity and the joy of what sports is supposed to be, because everything's about business and money. Like, who's the next AAU player that's going to come up and join the league and get this contract and become this face or whatnot, instead of just, enjoying it for what it's supposed to be, and, enjoying the purity and just the whole, just the goodness of the sport. And it's gone away from that.
Yeah, and I believe that wholeheartedly. Like I said, go ahead, Paul. I'm sorry.
No, look, I have a daughter that plays hockey. She's in her third year of hockey at 7 years old. Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, when I was a kid, barely anybody played hockey because it was the most expensive sport to play and it wasn't a thing. Now you can't find ice time now just to go public ice skating. And now, like, you sign your kid up. Like, I remember as a kid signing up for like rec league, little league and shit like that. And I had to try and sell a box of like 20 chocolate bars for $1 a piece. And nobody really bought the chocolate bars. Your whole family just ate them, and then they just paid the $20.
I thought it was just my family.
That's true. So it happened. You know I'm right.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
You know I'm right.
No.
Your uncle took a couple. What?
Yeah, I thought it was. I'm not gonna lie. I thought that was just an anomaly. I thought it was just my family doing that shit. I thought it was just my family doing that.
No.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was. They would give us the box of chocolate. It'd be about 40 Kit Kats in there, and then we sit around here bunching on. Oh, we gonna put it back tomorrow. We get paid tomorrow. We gonna put it back.
Yeah. Yeah. No. That.
They wondering why you put it back with the money so fast.
That box of chocolate sat on the kitchen counter, and all of a sudden, every day, like, it just got less and less and less, and nobody admitted to taking any. And then all of a sudden, you realize, and then either mom or dad like paid the little league $20 or what it was worth or whatever. But like now, dude, I pay over like at least over $1,000 for my 7-year-old to play hockey, and then no joke. Oh, dude. Oh, just wait. Then I have hours of hours that I have to donate my time, and if I don't do those hours, I get a bill and it's like $50 an hour at the end of the year. I'm like, I didn't sign up for indentured servitude. What the hell? Like, it's all a business. I'm telling you, dude, that first meeting I did 3 years ago.
Wow.
Well, it's true. Dude, I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I sat there in the first like parents meeting 3 years ago. 3-year-old, my daughter's barely 4, if that. And I'm sitting there listening. Now, again, I'm used to what I grew up with. Box of $20 chocolates and, whatever. And, you're using the hand-me-downs, or you're going to Play It Again Sports to get like whatever. And I'm dropping like $750 for a 4-year-old to play hockey. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, you got dibs. Well, what are dibs? Oh, well, you have to find 10 hours out of your time to donate to the arena. Otherwise you get like a $500 bill at the end of the year. And then if you don't do it or pay it, then she can't play next year. Dude, it's a business. It's all a business, and it's weird being the kid that grew up, and now everything is like that. All of it is. Every sport is like that. It's all a business, and it's creepy and weird.
Yeah, and I remember back then as well. If the coach saw some potential in you, especially, back when we was younger, hey, you stay after practice. And, you be practicing. You can ask for the coach to come early. I don't know. I don't really see that anymore. It's like they're underdeveloped when they go in. And plus, they emphasize, and I'm not trying to sound like the bitter old man here, but I'm just going to be real. They emphasize team back then. You might have had everybody had their star players. But they emphasized nobody was bigger than the team, because look, I don't know about y'all, but shout out to Coach Walton from Columbus, Georgia. He cut our star running back the day before a big game. And I'm looking around like, how the hell we gonna score some points? Because this dude just got it was our linebacker. He cut our star linebacker the day before game because he had been late to practice 6 times. And I'm looking around like, how the hell are we gonna win tomorrow? Because this dude our best defensive player just got cut. But that's the thing. It's just like, it's like nobody's untouchable. There's no consequence in the sport anymore. But back then you got the whole. I thought, like I said, I piggybacking on that. I thought that was just my family who did that. I was like, man, my family's just crazy. They eat all damn chocolate bars, and then we just pay the people $40. But we used to have that little chocolate box, and then you just had that little chocolate box, and then you had your equipment came like a few days later, and even the equipment wasn't expensive. It wasn't expensive. So,
the stuff that I got, dude, the jersey and baseball pants that I got were probably worn by some kid in 72.
And then you had them cheap ass T-shirts that we used to wear. They used to call them jerseys. My numbers kept coming. I'm number 15. The announcer keeps calling me number 5. I wonder why this dude's saying I'm number 5. Mom called me over. She had that little iron on. My mom was a team mom, so she had that little iron on the sideline. So you had to iron your damn number back on.
You go up to bat and the number's just kind of flapping off your back. You just
So, memories. But man, but like I said, even now, Boys and Girls Club. Remember, it was $10 back then to join the Boys and Girls Club. $50 for the summer. Now it's like hundreds of dollars right now. I'm like, damn, y'all told me y'all was a nonprofit organization. I'm just being real. So it's hundreds. I'm not lying. So it's like there's no investment in the youth at this point. There's no investment in the youth. And that's why you're seeing a lot less American players. Now you're gonna always see American players in football because football is universal. I mean, there's never going to be an AAU football program. It's not going to happen. And if you really want me to be honest, it'll be very, very hard for you to do that because, you got to recruit, you got to do this. And ain't nobody finna travel all year long for football. I'm just being real. It's only so many games that you can play before you start getting hurt and your team start getting decimated. Because I'm just going to be real. In BRF, I'm going to ask you this. Can you imagine an AAU team in Georgia coming out of nowhere? And 1 week they got to play Warner Robins. The next week they got to play Northside Warner Robins. The next week they got to play Westside Macon. Then they got to play Central Macon. Then they got to play Carver. Then they got to play Parkview. That's not going to work.
They quit in a month.
They quit the month. Yeah, as far as AAU football is concerned. So that's how come you're not going to see AAU football. You're going to continue to see a lot of the high schools and stuff like that. But you don't see the high school sensation anymore in basketball. You don't even see the middle school sensations anymore. I remember we used to see middle school sensation. This guy's going to be great in high school, future McDonald's All-American. We don't see that anymore. We don't see the Nike camps anymore coming to town and signing these guys up. That's why you see American basketball in the state that it was. Talked to a foreign man the other day. You know how much it costs for his kids to compete year-round for basketball? $150.
Couple grand at least. How much?
No, for his kids to play basketball year-round, it's $150 year-round.
Wow.
Now compare that to what an AAU player has to play year-round.
Oh, yeah.
So, but back to the question, I think the Mavs are in worse shape than anybody. And, I believe, Flash, piggybacking on what you and BRF are saying, I think that conspiracy stuff might be true. I mean, that's what I always say about
the first time. Dude, the NBA is rife with conspiracy theories about certain things. I mean, you got, the Ewing one where he was, where the envelope was cold, or put in the freezer or whatever. You got the You got the Jordan gambling one. You got, look, I mean, David Stern himself stopped a trade to the Lakers for Chris Paul. And as much as I hate the Lakers, no offense, champ, that never should have been stopped. It was, I wouldn't put it past the NBA. I just wouldn't. They've always been, they've had referee scandals. I still, as a Bucks fan, maintain to this day one of the most egregious moments in sports history is watching that Game 7 against the Philadelphia 76ers and Milwaukee Bucks. There's no reason Milwaukee Bucks shouldn't have gone to the finals that year. So so again, I'm just saying, don't be shocked if that team goes to Vegas that wouldn't shock me. So.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me either. But like I said, it's like if something makes sense, okay. It doesn't make sense for you to go to Vegas right now because you're seeing the receptions that two teams have gotten already. You're seeing it. In the great words of Kevin Hart, I saw you. You saw me see you.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't make sense. But we'll be here all night talking about this because that is one of the most these two franchises, one of them about trying to build a new stadium, and the other one wants to leave where they are right about now. That's the funniest part about it because the Sixers are trying to build a new stadium. So, and then the Mavs, they're trying to leave their stadium and leave their home. So, hey, I'm pretty sure Mark Cuban is having fits right about now, wishing he wouldn't have sold the majority stake of that team. But at the end of the day, for $500,000, you can have this shit. I'm just being real. You can have this shit.
Yeah,
be real. $500,000, you can have every bit of it. I'm gonna holler at you. I'll be the minority owner and sit courtside and be on Shark Tank for the remainder of the time. I'm just being real. Moving on to football. We're gonna move on to PSP's team. Can the Commanders overtake the Eagles in the NFC East to get to the Super Bowl? Now that they signed Deebo Samuels and Larry Thompson.
No.
I say they have a chance
again,
but no.
Yeah,
Flash.
I'm again. I want to look. I love Jaden Daniels. I think he's going to be a great quarterback in this league. But now I want to see what happens when now a team's got film on you for a whole year. I want to see, a little, and now this is coming from the guy that predicted the Commanders would finish second in the AFC or NFC East. The Eagles were so good at the end of the year. I know they lost some pieces, but they didn't lose that much, and this has been a very well-run franchise now since actually for a while now. So they'll regroup, they'll sign, they've signed, they'll draft new players. They draft very well. So I don't, not yet, no, I'm not quite there to say that they can overtake the Eagles. I think the Eagles right now are the best team in the league going into next year, I'd say. So I don't think so.
BRL. I definitely have to agree with that sentiment. I don't think they can overtake them just because, the Eagles lost pieces, but the core is still there. You still have Jalen Hurts. You still have Saquon Barkley. You still have AJ Brown. You still have Devontae Smith. You still pretty much have that offensive line for the most part locked up. If anything, your only potential change could be possibly trading Dallas Goedert. But knowing the Philadelphia Eagles, they'll be the type. They'll trade Dallas Goedert and they'll draft Harold Fannin Jr. in the draft, who's one of the more athletic tight ends to come in the league in a while. So that would just be a Philadelphia Eagle. That would be a Philadelphia Eagle thing to do. I mean, it's like Flash said, they're probably. I think Howie Roseman's the best GM, the best executive in football. They're one of the best ran organizations in football. They know how to scout. They know how to find talent. They know how to replace when they lose pieces. They know how to replace them, and it's like clockwork with the Eagles. And the defense is back for the most part. You still got Jalen Carter. You still have Jordan Davis. You re-up Zach Bond, which was a heck of a move. You still have Nolan Smith will be healthy by the start of the year. You still got that quarterback tandem. You still got that corner tandem, Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. You still have them. So I mean, it's not like like Flash said, it's not like they lost too much. I mean, the core that helped them win the Super Bowl is coming back. So Philadelphia is the best team in the NFL coming back this season. They're the favorites. They should be the favorites. They're definitely the favorites to win the NFC East. I think the Commanders have made really good moves. Don't get it wrong. They've made good moves. I mean, adding a Deebo Samuel, who I think is going to be, he's going to be pretty motivated coming in this year. I mean, you got to think about him. Some of the plays he's made and some of the numbers he's put up to only be traded for a 5th-round draft pick. You think that's going to add a little fuel to his fire. And then signing Laramie Tunsil, one of the best left tackles in the league, to protect Jane Daniels' blindside. I mean, those are definitely impactful moves from the jump. But I mean, they still have holes they need to correct.
Yeah,
and I mean, the Washington Commanders they're going in the right direction. They are on the come up as far as building franchises ready to do something. But the Philadelphia Eagles are still they're the face of the NFC. I think they're the best team in the league. I agree, and I think right now they should definitely be the favorites to actually repeat and win the NFC East again. I mean, I know it doesn't happen much, repeat NFC East winners, but 2025 could be. I would predict it's the year it's probably going to happen because I mean the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in football. So I don't think the Commanders can overtake them yet because I still think on both sides of the ball, Philly's still just a better team.
I have to agree with both of you guys. I don't think they quite have enough. But I have to see what they're going to do in the draft as well, as far as the Commanders are concerned. Speaking of the draft, real quick, just a quick segment. Which draft prospect will make the most difference for a team? Y'all humble opinion.
If I'm looking at the draft right now, the prospect who I think can come in and make the quickest impact. I'm gonna go defensive side of the ball. Whoever gets Will Johnson is getting a talent. The corner out of Michigan. Whoever gets him, they're getting somebody. I would probably go either him or Malachi Starks out of Georgia.
Okay.
I think whoever gets either one of those two DBs, you're getting somebody who's very much pro ready. And with someone like Malachi Starks, he can play safety or he can play corner. So he's multifaceted in that, in that look. He's a multifaceted player. He can play safety and he can play corner. Will Johnson's just one of the better cover corners we've seen to come into the league in a while. And granted, he had an injury short in 2024. But if you remember his 2023, he's one of the main reasons why Michigan won a national championship in 2023. You couldn't throw on Will Johnson. So I think if you're looking at immediate impact, and I'm just saying there are definitely other players who I'd see that could make immediate impact. I mean, you look at the pass rushers in particular. Someone like an Abdul Carter, I think he could come in and make an immediate impact. I mean, I think a guy like Jalen Walker could come in and make an immediate impact in the right situation. But I'm looking at a guy. I'm looking at guys who could play in any scheme. I'm looking at Will Johnson. I'm looking at Malachi Starks. Those would probably be two for me who I think are going to come in and make the most immediate impact.
Awesome.
I think whatever quarterback is drafted by the Cleveland Browns.
Nice.
I look
I
at
like
the
that.
Cleveland Browns. They still have a ton of talent. They still have a ton of talent, and they're basically a quarterback away. Let me take that back. Maybe not a quarterback away, but a quarterback away from being a division contender.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it's Cam Ward or Sanders, you throw him there, and if he's above average, we have another, there'll be a problem, at least in the AFC North. So, like, when it comes to impact, I think that's the biggest impact anybody's going to make to a franchise. Like, I look at Tennessee, they're in a full rebuild. The Giants are in a full rebuild. The Patriots, I know that topic's going to come up in a second here. They're still in a rebuild. Jacksonville's rebooting. The Raiders are rebuilding and establishing. The Jets, that's another one. If they are able to get a quarterback that's not, smoking acid every weekend, then I think they, then maybe they have some, they'll have some. I'm in a mood. I'm in a mood tonight. I am. It's just, I'm just in a mood. I'll just say that.
I'm out of the bitch to flash cornflakes this morning.
Yeah, it's just my day. I'm in a mood today. If they get a competent quarterback and kind of establish that, like, some steadiness to the franchise, then they might be, that might be a possibility. They still have one of the best rosters in the league. So yeah, there's always that guy that falls too. There's a couple teams in there, like Chicago's at 10. What if Travis Hunter falls to 10? Not saying he will, but just saying, what if something like that happens? Or one of the top defenders falls to Chicago at 10?
What if Abdul Carter falls to 10?
Yeah. We've seen weird things happen in drafts where guys just fall. But right now, I think whoever the Browns pick right now, that's my pick. The Browns or the Jets, if they both pick quarterbacks.
Tyler Warren.
I like that.
I think whoever gets him is going to have definite impact. They're going to get something out of him almost immediately.
Where do you think he goes?
I don't know. I really don't know. And I don't want to make any predictions right about now, but whoever gets them, they got themselves a prize.
I'm trying to think about teams in the top half who might be in need of a tight end. Jacksonville released Evan Ingram, so that's a spot.
Him and Brandon.
Yeah, that's a spot.
New England
Patriots, definitely. I think Tyler Warren would be a great. Oh man, that would be a great. You know what? I would love to see him with Drake May. I think that's an awesome fit. That's an awesome fit. Giving Drake May a security blanket like that, a reliable, to finally give him a good, reliable target like that. I would. You know what? Tyler Warren would be awesome with the New England Patriots. I like that fit.
Yeah. And I would love for Abdul Carter to go to the Cleveland Browns.
Jesus Christ.
I would love to see him go to the Cleveland Browns and play with Myles Garrett.
If he comes in and lives up to the height and he's bookend with Myles Garrett, God help the AFC North and those quarterbacks.
Because it's gonna be uglier than the masterpiece niggas. Just being real. So those are my two guys, Tyler Warren.
What are you doing at quarterback then,
though? I don't look. I'm gonna just be real. I don't think that they have enough money to even sign another one. I'm just gonna be real.
No, poor Kenny Pickett. Poor Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, and they just signed him to a contract, so I don't think they're going to add another.
You know the guy. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I you know who I thought was going to be their quarterback until the news broke today that a certain team is keeping him on their roster.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins. I already know you're talking about.
I knew that was coming.
I honestly thought that Atlanta was going to move on and let him go, and he'd go and be able to sign with Cleveland for pennies on the dollar. Well,
I like that.
Your guys, the Falcons, decided to hang on to him, and I'm like, ooh, that threw a monkey wrench into a lot of things that I was thinking. So,
unless
they trade him.
I'll say this though. In the Falcons' defense, I like that because now you're going to see if these teams really want to get them. So now maybe you might be able to pry some out of them if they really want them that bad. So I actually,
why?
Well, I like the Falcons doing that. They're playing a little chess. I like it. I like that move.
Why cut somebody when you can possibly get something for them? Plus, if it's only going to cost you like $10 million.
Yeah, and plus I ain't got to get hit with no $30 million cap hit. So when I can release him the next year and get 20 and get $50 million in cap space. So guess what? They playing chess, not checkers. So
exactly. I got it for the crap that a lot of fans have been giving Terry Fontenot. Touche for him and his handling of the Kirk Cousins situation. Touche to him.
Good. Yeah, I like that, man. I like it. Half the Chargers failed Justin Herbert this offseason. They haven't signed a big weapon as far as the wide receiver position. I mean, they brought back Mike Williams, but he's kind of injury prone. He can't stay on the field. They got Najee Harris and the offensive guard for Philadelphia, but Najee Harris isn't exactly one of those Saquon Barkley signings that you just, a lot of Pittsburgh fans say he's overrated. Even a lot of Pittsburgh fans say he's overrated. So, and then they didn't get another weapon opposite of Ladd McConkey. So you have to wonder how they're going to affect his play this year now that people got film on Ladd McConkey. So
I do like the Mekhi Becton signing though. I do like that because he kind of even though it was the Philadelphia Eagles and he benefited from having a tier talent beside him on the offensive line. He came back into his own last year with the Philadelphia Eagles. So I do like that signing. He's an upgrade for them at that left guard. I do like that. I like that. But as far as the weapons, they could have done better than Mike Williams and Najee Harris. They could have done better. They could have done better. I really think they could have done better.
Yeah, I'm not really. I'm not really high on Justin Herbert. I know everybody's got a thing for him, and I'm just kind of did they fail him? Yeah, I guess that. Yeah, Mike Williams is. He never can stay healthy. He's never lived up to even a quarter of the hype that was supposed to. Boy, would DK Metcalf have looked good in a Chargers uniform. Not saying they didn't try or anything, but he would have looked great in a Chargers uniform. I do like the Becton sign, or I'm sorry, the Becton signing. I'm also, let's see, the draft isn't done yet. We'll have June cuts. I wouldn't say failed. Yeah, we still got a lot of offseason left. So
what champ? I'm sorry, go ahead. Go finish up, Vlad.
I was just gonna say, like, fail is a strong word. I'm a wait and see right now. I want to wait and see what they do with the draft.
What position do the LA Chargers hold in the first round of the draft this year?
Let's see.
22.
Damn, that was fast.
22.
Okay, they're 22. So, trying to think. They definitely. I would if I'm them. I go wide receiver. I go wide receiver and I give them a target. So you're looking at potentially late first, second round grades. Trying to think. Maybe a Kyron Lacy out of LSU. Maybe a because I mean, yeah, I'm trying to think who else possibly. Not too many that come off the top of the dome as far as like targets. But I know as we get closer, there are gonna be some names. There are gonna be some names pop up, and then we could really kind of readily identify who the LA Chargers should go after. But if I'm them, I'm definitely getting Justin Herbert a weapon with that 22nd pick.
Well, like I said, I'm a wait and see. Go ahead, champ.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
I've done that. I was going to say, well, wait and see.
I have a question, and I posed this question on my TikTok last night. If the Pittsburgh Steelers went to the LA Chargers and said, we will trade you a first, a third, and TJ Watt if you give us Justin Herbert, do the Chargers say yes, or would y'all say yes?
I would slap the hell out of the Spanos family if they took that deal. And I love TJ Watt, but I would slap every last one of them if they took that deal. Why are you trading him and keeping him in the conference for one? For him to haunt you. Like, no. Even for TJ Watt, I'm not doing that just for the simple standpoint. He's staying in the AFC, so we could potentially see him in the playoffs, and he could potentially haunt us. No. If you're gonna do something like that, trade him to the NFC. Don't trade him to nobody in the AFC to where he can haunt you. Nope.
If I'm the Chargers, I'd come back and I say you better sweeten the draft picks, and I'd say yes.
First, second, third, TJ Watt.
Yeah, I say yes. I do. You're not winning that division. You're not. You're not winning that division. Sorry. You got Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes isn't even 30 years old yet. You're not winning that division. The Broncos are ascending. They seem like they have their franchise guy. They ain't winning the division anytime soon. You get a generational pass rusher. You get a first and a second, and you said a third.
Yeah. TJ Watt.
And if you want, you can save a ton of money and go get a young quarterback.
Not to mention, Pittsburgh needs a quarterback right now, and that's the reason why I brought that trade up, because you have two. My bad.
No, I was just saying, like, here's the other thing too. Like, it gives them ammo. Like, next year's draft is supposed to be even better. So you let Mahomes get a little older. You let that team get a little older. You let Travis Kelce finally go. Andy Reid, oh yeah, have him, maybe get another year older. Does he really want to, keep coaching? Go get your young quarterback. I don't know, man. I say yes.
You got to ask yourself this: if you're Pittsburgh, and then we'll move on. Because I said this plenty of times. You have two very emotional wide receivers on Pittsburgh right now. Very volatile. DK Metcalf is very, very volatile, very emotional. George Pickett, very volatile, very emotional. You don't have a quarterback right now, or at least one worth their salt that's going to build chemistry with this team for the next 3 to 4 years. What better way to boost that franchise to say, hey, we'll give you a first and TJ Watts in order to get a quarterback that's going to be with us for at least 2029. That's when Justin Herbert contract runs out. Because right now, although the Steelers are a good team, they're not going to suck that bad in order to be able to get them a stable quarterback. They're not going to suck. And with you being the reason why they're not able to get over the hump and they're losing at the end of the season is because you don't have adequate quarterback play. Not saying Russell Wilson is terrible, but this is not Russell Wilson of the 2010s. They was basically using Justin Fields at one point as a gadget guy. So you're going to have to find you some stability at the quarterback position in order to – you good, man?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. In order to get yourself together, in order to make sure that you have adequate quarterback play for the next few years. Because right now, you keep doing this. Oh, he had a winning season. Oh, he has a winning season. That gets old after a while. It's gotten old. And after a while, you can't depend on winning seasons just to back you up. Because you're essentially becoming Marvin Lewis at a certain point. So you got to get yourself a quarterback.
Well, who says no? What do you think, Champ? Does Pittsburgh say no, or do the Chargers say no?
I think that Pittsburgh has to be willing to pull the trigger. And I know J.J. Watt is, he's 30 years. I know he's great. But I've said this before, and I'll say it again. That system that Pittsburgh has is more conducive to linebacker than Mike Shanahan's system is for running backs. If you are a good linebacker, you can succeed in that system that Pittsburgh has. We thought that, I said this plenty of times, we thought that the best linebacker that I knew from the Pittsburgh Steelers when I was little was Greg Lloyd. I never thought they would be able to replace a Greg Lloyd. But they did. They got Jason Gilden. I never thought they would be able to replace Jason Gilden. Yet they had Joey Porter. Never thought they'd be able to replace a Joey Porter. Yet they got James Harrison. Never thought they'd be able to replace a James Harrison. T.J. Watts. Highsmith. Never thought they'd be able to replace Kendrell Bell. You know who Kendrell Bell is, BRF. He came from Georgia. Kendrell Bell.
Kendrell Bell was one of my favorite in his peak. He was one of my favorite linebackers to watch.
Yeah, didn't think they was going to be able to replace Kendrell Bell when they traded with the Kansas City. Larry Foote replaced him. Didn't think they were going to be able to replace Larry Foote. Ryan Shazier, Lawrence Timmons, Lamar Woodley. So they've been able to draft for linebackers pretty much like the back of their hand. It's like, okay, we're going to take this guy. We're going to take that guy. We're going to take this guy. They've been successful. All Pro Bowls, Defensive Player of the Year. They've been able to draft those guys. And in the case of James Harrison, he was an undrafted free agent. So they have an eye for talent at that position. What you don't have an eye for and what you haven't been able to succeed with is the quarterback position. And that's the problem. So you're going to have to find something that boosts you into the stratosphere. Otherwise, we're going to be sitting here 5 more years from now talking about, well, the winning seasons. He has never had a losing season. Yeah, neither did Tony Dungy at damn Tampa Bay. But guess what? They got rid of Tony Dungy. Granted, he won a Super Bowl elsewhere. But eventually people said, look, winning seasons are not enough. That's all I have to say about that. Anything y'all want to
add? No, I know you. Yeah, I know you were. I guess we were talking about the whole Mike Tomlin thing, and I really didn't chime in on it as much. And it's like, as much as I could see the point, as far as like maybe you fire Mike Tomlin, I look at the fire Mike Tomlin thing, and I'm like, well, if you fire him, the next coach you bring in basically has to, at the very least, get you to like a playoff win, an AFC championship. Like they have to come in to deliver off the bat. Otherwise, it's going to be like, what was the point of firing Mike Tomlin if we're just back to square one? So you have to really think about that and be considerate.
Exactly. Real quick, who won free agency?
Talked about it last night. For me right now it's Chicago and Washington. Right now. Now I'll say this though. New England did a pretty good job in free agency. I like the Milton Williams signing for them. Carolina has really been on the come up since Bryce Young finally discovered that he could play the quarterback position in the National Football League, and they've just been on the up and up ever since to possibly try to make a wild card run next year. So Carolina's definitely on the up and up, but I think right now I would probably go Chicago and Washington are probably the two teams that have probably won. Like, if you're gonna single out one, probably Chicago. I mean, Joe Tooney, Drew Dahlman. I mean, just shoring up that offensive line with arguably a guy in Joe Tooney who might still be the best pass blocking guard in football, and then Drew Dahlman, who might have been the most improved offensive lineman in the entire league last year. So definitely good on them to be able to land those guys. So yeah, I'm gonna go Chicago. I'm gonna go Chicago Bears.
Same. We talked about it a little bit last week or on Monday. It's Chicago. Like, they've won the offseason so far. Coaching hires, free agency, kind of everything. Yeah. Like, they've just kind of knocked it out of the park. Whether that translates to results and wins, we'll see. But we still got the draft, and they have the 10th overall pick. So their off season and free agency right now, they're doing great.
Can you imagine, real quick, Chicago Bears drafting with the 10th overall pick? I think Ashton Genty would be a good fit for that offense. I think he'd be a good fit for that offense.
I'm not a big DeAndre Swift guy. So if you add Ashton Genty to that offense with that retooled offensive line,
yeah, I'm digging it. I'm digging Ashton. I'm digging Ashton Genty to Chicago at 10. I'm digging it.
Yeah. If he doesn't get snatched up before that, which looking at the top 10,
I think
maybe the Raiders.
Yeah, I think if it's anybody, it'd be the Raiders. It'd be the Raiders.
Yeah. Yeah, and I that's the only team in the top 10 that I could see picking a running back. And if it wasn't Pete Carroll, I would have said the Raiders wouldn't pick him, but it's Pete Carroll.
Mm-hmm.
So, and football. So I could totally see them getting Genty. But if he falls to 10 at Chicago, man, that's an offense.
Yeah, DJ Moore, Rome McDunsey. Yeah, oh yeah.
Dare I say that offense or that division, the NFC North, would be the best division in football we've seen since probably the best division.
Top to bottom, and this is me probably being a little biased. Top to bottom, probably best since those early 2010 NFC South divisions.
Yes,
where it was like Atlanta, like where the whole freaking, like, after realignment, the entire freaking division was just crazy, and you didn't want to see them. Whether it was Atlanta or Carolina or Tampa or New Orleans, like you didn't want to see none of them. and maybe like I don't know. Honestly, the AFC North is always packed full divisions too. I'm not gonna front. Even if the fourth place team wasn't that, even if they weren't that great, it's like they would have like a facet of that team that'd be like, man, I don't want to see them on Sunday. So I would probably go those early 2010s NFC South divisions where the whole division was just like any of those teams could have won a division, and if you just really open it up, all four of those teams at one point could have made the playoffs. It was just like just craziness.
Hell,
Yeah, I mean,
all of us did. I mean, I think it was like 2013. I mean, we led the division, and I mean, all of us got our behinds kicked because Colin Kaepernick's ass was just on a tear that year. Because remember, they beat us in the NFC Championship, but on the way, he beat Carolina. Then I think he beat Carolina. Then he turned right back around the very next week and beat us. Now I still think they cheated, but he still beat us because But I don't hold grudges. But Cap, I owe you one. So that was holding.
All I'm gonna say is Navarro Bowman, but I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that was holding because they held the hell out of Roddy White. He was gone. But I digress. Last but not least, to finish out this one spectacular hell of a show, real quick, is the Panthers and the Chiefs on their way back to the playoffs this year?
Panthers and Patriots.
Panthers and Patriots,
yeah. No.
No, I didn't think so either. I just thought it an intriguing question to ask. They made a lot of good free agency moves, but not enough. I think that division still belongs to the Buffalo Bills as far as the NFC, the AFC East is concerned, Miami. And depending on if Hawk Tua can stay healthy this year, I think they can do some things. But I don't really see them going to the playoffs and beating out that division. Plus, you got to worry about the Jets as well, depending on if
Drake May would have to. Yeah, Drake May would have to make a huge leap currently right now, like a huge leap to get them to the playoffs. Like they're still the fourth. I mean, if Tua can't stay healthy, then they might be the third best team, but right now they're the fourth best team in that division. And the Panthers, I gotta see a little bit more. Like and the NFC, you got four teams in the NFC North, already. Then you add in Philly, Washington, that's 6. You got the Rams, and my God. You got the Rams out of that division. You got Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just Atlanta's better than Carolina. Yeah, we're another. I think New England's farther along, so New England might be one more year away, possibly, and then I think Carolina's like 2.
You said New. I don't know. I actually think Carolina's farther along. I think Carolina's actually a little farther along because when I look at the Carolina Panthers, it's not just Bryce Young; it's Chuba Hubbard behind him. So that's why.
Who do you have faith more right now to play quarterback right now? Drake May or Bryce Young?
Bro, did you see Bryce Young the second half of the season?
Yeah, I know, but that's just one half. Like he was.
I get that.
He was butthole bad for a year and a half.
But sometimes when you figure it out, that's just the light bulb.
Not lining up. Look, maybe the light bulb went off. But I mean, dude was almost lining up underneath the running back. He was bad. But even still,
You look at some of the performances he had last year against against better competition.
Look, I know. I just think here's how I look at it. I think New England is farther along in the aspect of I think they have a better coach. They have a better foundation as a franchise. Do I think that New England has less talent? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. But I think the coaching and the foundation of a franchise kind of puts New England farther ahead. Again, I don't say it's like, I'm not saying it's leaps and bounds, but although I look at that AFC South,
yeah. For me, it's the NFC South. Why I think Carolina could be one
NFC
of those.
South.
Like, yeah. See, the NFC South for me is why Carolina could possibly be a surprise team and maybe squeeze out like a 6 or a 7. A 6 or what you maybe not this year, but also it does kind of depend. But it also depends on how Atlanta or Tampa, if they are the two prohibitive favorites to win the division, how many wins is going to take to win that division? So I don't. Yeah, okay. The depth of I'll agree. The depth of the NFC, yeah, not this year, but I mean, maybe not this year, but I mean, who are us to say that everything's just going to transpire like we see it? I mean, it's the NFL.
Yeah, I'm just looking at what I see now currently. I'm just saying, I look at New England and I go, all right, I mean, make the playoffs. Do they win the division as long as Josh Allen is there? Maybe. But the Jets are still a far more talented franchise right now on the roster. Like I said, all they need is a quarterback. Again, if Tua's healthy or if Miami moves on from him and gets somebody else, there's still a lot of firepower there. So but I think the point being the NFC South, Carolina's a lot closer to those teams than New England is to the teams in their division. So maybe I'm wrong on the time frame where it's Carolina's closer to making the playoffs than New England is. But as a franchise, I think New England's farther along than Carolina is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, that's my take.
I can see that.
Last question, quick yes or no question before we end the show. Has the San Francisco window on the Super Bowl closed?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't think it's
well.
Yeah.
I think we're at a point with them where they might want to start looking at trading Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I don't know. They just traded Jeff Mason today. So I don't know.
Hey. Can you imagine Cam Scatterby going to that offense?
What do you say?
You imagine Cam Scatterby going to that offense?
Do you?
It's Kyle Shanahan. He'll make it work.
Yeah.
Do you blow that? If you're Kyle Shanahan or if you're John Lynch, do you blow that thing up or no?
I think you give it this year. You give them this year. After this year, you don't. After this year, if you don't win the division, if you don't see improvement after this year, you kill it.
To be honest with you, I'm gonna see what happens this year because this year is gonna determine if I pay Brock Purdy or not.
Exactly.
This is gonna determine because you've lost a million starters. You've lost 10 starters from those previous 2 Super Bowl appearances. You lost Deebo Samuel, and there's a possibility that you might lose Brandon Ayuk before the season starts. Because there's a possibility you losing a lot of these guys. So I'm waiting to see what happens with that team. Because this year if you don't prove to me that you could be this extraordinary QB, you're not getting $60 million from me.
I honestly, I don't think Purdy really got to be extraordinary. He just got to show that he can operate without needing superstar talent around him.
Yeah.
Only thing I will say is me and PSP said this last week. Brock Purdy, listen to my flapping gums. You better hope and you better pray none of them two quarterbacks fall to number 11. Because if Cam Ward or Sadua fall to 11, you might be on your way up out of there, especially if you don't have a good season this year. And I can see it happen.
I think Kyle Shanahan has enough ego. If one of those quarterbacks was to fall, he'd draft him too.
Yeah, but I don't even think I don't think either of those dudes get that far. You got Tennessee.
No, I don't think either one gets. I don't think either one of them get past like the single digits.
Hey, remember Ben
Roethlisberger? You got the Giants. You have Jacksonville. Oh well.
No,
they just signed Lawrence to a gazillion dollar. You got the Raiders. You got
the Giants. You got the Raiders. I mean, you still have Cleveland for what it's worth.
The Titans.
You got Tennessee. Because I doubt they have faith in Will Levis. So you got New Orleans.
And then you got not saying that Dallas is smart and they would actually draft a quarterback because that's what they should do. But they got Dallas at 12. They're right behind San Francisco. I mean, I don't think either, but hey, stranger things have happened.
Hey, Big Ben got drafted at number 11. So, I mean, we've seen it. Aaron Rodgers dropped to 25. Hell, Dan Marino almost dropped out of the first round.
Yeah, because of a rumor.
Yeah, that kind of and there's a conspiracy theory around that. You know that, right?
I know there is. Yes,
they said that Don Shula did that.
They're like, can you imagine John Shula in his office sitting there and just going like, I got it. Let's put out that Dan Marino does the nose candy, and then he'll drop in the first round.
Oh, it was the hard stuff. I thought they said he was smoking that Doja.
No, it was the nose candy.
Oh, no wonder.
Yeah, it was the nose. Well, dude, you got to remember, it was the 80s, man.
It was the 80s.
No. Because the rumor was because I thought, and as well as my father, I thought it was that Doja. I'm like,
no, it was that Doja. I could have sworn it was cocaine or nose candy.
Yeah, because remember, the rumor was him and Joe Montana failed a drug test for that Doja in Super Bowl in Super Bowl in the 1984 Super Bowl. They both tested positive for marijuana.
I did not know that.
Yes, they could. Yeah, Jimmy the Greek had reported that.
Wow.
Positive for that Doja.
Let's see.
We got to keep Pittsburgh and Notre Dame quarterbacks away from each other. Apparently.
Yeah, Jimmy the Greek had reported that, and Joe Montana came out and refuted it. But I'm like, back then, you on that Doja, back then that was considered terrible. But But they said that he tested positive for that Doja. So
dude, there's a famous story. There's in an interview, Chuck Noll passed on Marino because of that rumor.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And got
bro, can you imagine Dan Marino coming in to replace Terry Bradshaw, bro?
I'm pretty sure even on his deathbed, Mr. Rooney told his son, you should have drafted Dan Marino.
Wow.
I'm trying to see because the rumor I'm reading an article on right now.
Yeah.
The original rumor was that he was just a partier.
Yeah.
And then it evolved from there. Told that he had heard of a group using marijuana or drugs.
Oh yeah, I knew it was that nose.
Marijuana. Hold on. Yeah, you also got to remember this is right around the just say no to drugs Nancy Reagan era too. Like this is peak drug war. I could have sworn it was cocaine. Oh wait, no. Here's a news report from autumn of '82 reveals the state of sport drug conversations. The Big Ten issued drug use questionnaires to its students, concluding that less than 5% were using heavier drugs than marijuana, and say the conference did not have a major drug problem. Anyone started a malicious drug rumor? And I could have sworn it was the nose candy. It was more than just. I could be wrong. I just remember watching. I thought it was a 30 for 30 or something, and it was
Marino.
That it was. It's
Elway to Marino.
What?
That was the 30. Elway to Marino was the 30 for 30.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
you just taught me something new today. That's why I like working with y'all. That's why I love working with y'all.
I think it started out as it's in an article. It said it as a partier, and I think it evolved from partier to marijuana to
because
nose candy.
Hey, because that was the biggest rumor going around that Dan Marino like that Ross clock. So Dan Marino like that game.
That whole 80s scene, that whole 80s cocaine scene, that Bulls team that Jordan got to the 86 or what that played the 86 Celtics was just like rampant. I mean, it was like terrible. I mean, and then you had all the, look at all the stuff that Lawrence Taylor said that he had it on the sidelines.
Some of the stories I heard come out of Lawrence Taylor's mouth is just like, dude.
You know what, man?
Dude,
I don't know.
You are like the greatest outside linebacker to ever play this sport.
You was half in the bag,
and you coming in toe up from the floor up and making the plays that you were making on a regular basis.
I got a question though. If you watch his play, doesn't it make sense that he was just like
heck yeah, it makes sense.
It totally makes sense because like if you watch, so not to bring up but if you watch the Bill Cosby himself and how and he talks about, like, in the first segment he talks about drugs. And he brings up like cocaine, and everybody's like, "Why is cocaine?" He's like, "It just amplifies your personality." And it looks like Lawrence Taylor looked like he just had his own personality amplified by 10. And so, that dude was intense, and so it did not shock me at all that he was like, "Yeah, before I went out on the field, I'm just like, dude, like the."
I don't understand as a former athlete how athletes did that stuff. And
I don't either.
I don't, because the thing is, we all know that one guy in high school who used to show up drunk and throw up 20 points. I had one of my friends of mine, I ain't gonna say no names because he might be watching this show. Yeah. This dude used to go outside and get on that doja and then come back in the gym and score 20 points in a basketball game. And I look at him like, how in the hell did you just do that? I can't even. If I drink too much water before the game started, then everything had to be perfect for me to have a good day. It's like I had to be Tom Brady all the time. I just couldn't be. I didn't even eat junk food during the season. I didn't eat Skittles. I didn't eat none of that during the season. It was just like Especially when I was boxing, I didn't do anything. Yeah, I ate apples. I ate apples just to make sure I cut weight, just to make sure I made weight. You know, if you ate, you know, if you eat a bunch of apples, you know what's gonna happen after the fact. So just being real. So yeah, I don't understand how that did that.
I don't understand. I mean, there are rumors too of like Major League Baseball players smoking marijuana because it slowed the game down for them. And I just said
that.
Yeah, that was a big thing.
Pep pills. Pep pills. Not pet pills, but pep pills was big for baseball players back in the day. I remember Darryl Strawberry, he said, man, that baseball looks so big coming in.
Yeah. Dude, I can't fathom the stuff. Like, I can't fathom that being that good at something.
And you like, have in the bag.
Yeah.
I had to be perfect when I was boxing. I had to do everything I could just to be ready. Number one, I'm not that aggressive anyway.
No,
I'm not an aggressive guy. So it takes a lot of mental strength just to come in there and just want to beat the crap out of somebody in the first place for me. So
well, it's like John Jones before he got all, you know, like John Jones walk into a UFC ring and just like
he'd be half in the bag.
Yeah, half in the bag. He's like, whatever. And he just like smoked some of the best fighters in the world. Like it was nothing.
Like it was nothing.
Like it was nothing. Like I can't imagine being that good. Like and we're not talking about like you're just going out and beating some average like you're like Lawrence Taylor. You're like considered the greatest defensive player of all time, arguably. John Jones, you are considered. It's pretty much decided that you are the greatest fighter of all time. Like you are the baddest MFer to ever walk into any type of ring. Like that's including guys like Tyson and Ali, and like he's that good. And dude, for
the bag.
And John, oh man, and John Jones at his peak weren't beating no like pushover fighters. I mean, the fight at his peak, it was like murderer's row of fighters he was putting down.
Dude, he put down DC. In any other alternative universe, DC goes down as the greatest heavyweight champion of all time, or light heavy. Like it's not even close. And like hit and run, coked out of his mind, John Jones just made him a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen now, and now we're seeing John Jones, like he just gets in the ring now, he's all sober, and he's like, I'm taking this seriously now, I guess. Like he's like, I guess I'll take it seriously. And he just goes
and putting people to sleep.
But yeah, he just walks in, doesn't even break a sweat. Like just walks in, puts down Ngannou or whoever, like it just like backs him into the cage and goes, and then like, I'm done. You're like,
now I can go to the club now.
Yeah, the fight, the fight against Stipe, Miocic. That was like light work. That's
just it's amazing that you could be that good that you just don't care. It's like you could be that. Like I said, I used to be in the amateurs. Like I said, I don't have an aggressive personality. I'm a goof off type of guy. Yet I won 2 karate championships. I'm just gonna keep it real. I used to eat hot dogs before the match because funny story, one of my cousins figured out how to make me fight better because he used to make sure I didn't go to the bathroom and go to the hot dog stands before the fight. Because I used to love to eat a chili dog right before the fight. So he would make sure everybody, because he was a black belt. He, you know, when you in martial arts, you one of the black belts, you keep your guy, you could put certain constraints. So he used to make sure guys, when I would say I got to go to the bathroom, they keep me away from the snack bar because I used to eat. It wasn't no big super chili dog. You know, they have a little spread on there. You kind of eat so you can put some on your stomach. So what he figured out was what he would do is he would make sure that, because you get into the tournaments around 8 o'clock. You get there around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. You might not fight till like 12. You might not fight till like 12. So he will figure out, okay, in order to make him be aggressive, I'm gonna make sure you starve until that time. Because when I would eat, I'd get mad. Like I'm ready to eat, bro. Like,
angry.
I'm hungry. And you know that
you'd be like the water boy. You'd be like the water boy. You'd be walking across the ring, looking at the guy's head like a chili dog. Like,
yeah, so it's like I used to get mad because it's like, bro, I'm hungry. I ain't got nothing on my stomach. I'm mad. I don't want to be out here.
Yeah. Can you imagine Champ at the time too, boy? He do his tournaments, he fight, and afterward, boy, he won himself. Even though he won the tournament, he won himself. He had to have a Snickers because he won himself.
I had to eat something.
Dude,
I had to eat something during the tournaments. And so that's what my cousin, he'd get mad at me because I would eat a chili dog before the tournament and I would still go out there and win. I'm like, bro, I just need some on my stomach so I can have some energy out there. So he would ask guys to keep me away from the snack bars.
Dude, you imagine Champ, bell rings, first round, guy walk out and meet you in the middle of the ring, but motherfucking chili dog. He's like, what did you just call me? How?
So yeah, that's what he used to do. He'd keep it away from. Or either I grab one of them little milkshakes or something like that. Had a lot of protein in them. And stuff like that. But yeah, I used to eat a chili dog right before the fight would start. It was like,
dude,
like 30 minutes before that.
Dude, I know you're Champ, and that's your name. But dude, I desperately want to call you Chili Dog from now on. Like that.
Yeah, because I eat a chili dog right before, and he would my cousin would get pissed. What the hell are you doing? Because I would hide behind the bleachers. No, because I would hide behind the bleachers in order to. I didn't eat them around them. I would hide behind the bleachers in order to hide the fact I was eating. And I'm not talking about like right behind. I go all the way up under. You know what I'm saying? I'm just sitting back there, and I had to stand up and eat because there ain't enough space back there. I was skinny back then, but still wasn't a lot of space back there. So you really just cooped up in there. You trying to eat. So yeah, like I said, you check in around like 8 or 9. You might not be in another. First, you're gonna do forms. You know, you got to do your routine first, but you might not fight till like 12. So I'm like, I'm hungry as hell. I'm not finna just sit around here and not eat. And sugar used to have a bad effect because it will make you crash. And the last thing you need to do is have a crash during a fight. So yeah, I eat a chili dog for the match. So I figured Cortez Kennedy did it. I can do it too. I'm just being real. Cortez Kennedy did it. I can do it too. So that's why I got it from him. As a matter of fact, Cortez Kennedy eating a hot dog on the sideline. That was the funniest thing ever. But on that note, man, hell of a show tonight, man. Glad to be back here on this great Saturday. And we hit them in the mouth on Monday. Good show tonight. Anything y'all need to add?
Definitely a pleasure. It's definitely a pleasure. Always a pleasure to share the spotlight with y'all. Definitely glad to be back. We're gonna call. Hey, I like the Saturday highlight reel. I like that as a little spin-off nickname. I like that. That I think that got some longevity with it. I like that. But yeah, always a pleasure to be on here with y'all. But yeah, I just I shout it out real quick. Follow the BRF Sports at the TikTok. Y'all follow that. Link trees in the bio. Hoping to get into some Major League Baseball content with the season rapidly approaching. So definitely looking into getting into some baseball content. So be on the lookout for that. Topic not thought about is a topic not talked about. Again, always a pleasure to be on here with y'all. And this was fun. I had a blast night.
Yeah. Flash.
You get Flash22 on TikTok and on Instagram. I actually have a Kobe Duncan video coming out on TikTok tomorrow that I'll be doing. So it's been my first video in a little while again. So that'll be coming out tomorrow. But again, always it's one of my favorite times during the week to hang out with you guys. I love it. So good to go. I was in the mood tonight, so I'm hoping those happen a little bit more.
He was on one. Lord, he was on one. But on that note, man, I'm glad he was, because it makes the hell of a show a lot better. So I mean, when Flash is on one, it makes me laugh. Like I said, it's all. Hey, I'm just being real. Look, man, in real life, this is not just a facade. My political correctness, it's like this in real life too. So, and we all know the most politically correct people does not have the most politically correct people around. So you should see, hey, all my friends are just like Flash. So we gonna end it on that note and take it offline though. I'm gonna holler at you.